Yes, good evening. My name is Wallace Gator Bradley, and I'm the president of United in Peace, Inc. And as I start my show off every Friday, I'm glad to be back this Friday, and I want to say to God be the glory. And I want to let the world know, especially my viewing audience across the country, know that this show wouldn't be possible without a great producer who happens to be the chairman of United in Peace, Inc., as well as the executive director of this show, the Bradley Report. And I'm blessed by God for allowing me to be married to this woman, and her name is Terry Marsh. Now, with that said, I feel ordained. First off, I want to let everyone know that your opinion is expected and respected on this show. There's a lot of things that has been happening within the last week. So I want to start off by getting one mention about Trump on this show, and I feel it's very important. And that is the fact that the Trump administration slashes funds for the Obamacare sign-in. He slashed it by 90% of monies that was being spent to advertise and promote the Obamacare, for lack of a better phrase, or a good phrase. Because he didn't want people to constantly be able to know how to fill out the paperwork to get insurance. I said it's a shame on the president. He couldn't get Congress and the Senate to destroy this act instead of fixing the Health Insurance Act. So now he wants to suck the life out of it. But that's enough about Trump. The thing that's important today is that at last we find a path to a consent decree for Chicago police. I think that's wonderful. Last week we talked about the fact that our mayor had made a promise to the people of the city of Chicago and to me, because I support him because of his public safety concern. And the people want to make sure that the police officers that engage in police misconduct, senseless violence against the citizens of the city of Chicago, that there's a check and balance to make it where the police be about their responsibility, and that is serving and protecting all of us in Chicago. The Attorney General, Lisa Madigan, had filed suit to force the mayor to live up to his promise. And I believe about 2 days ago, the mayor and the Attorney General, Lisa Madigan, had a press conference in front of the State of Illinois building. And they come into agreement that he has to live up to his promise. I want to say hooray, hooray to the both of them, hooray, you know. And in Illinois is a big day because the governor signed the bill to help fund the schools in the state of Illinois. Mainly because the Senate, the state Senate and the state House, Democrats and Republicans, came together for the betterment of the art of a compromise to make sure that all the districts within the state of Illinois get monies to help fund their schools and get the children to school on time. That's a wonderful thing. It's a big day. It says a big day for the little people, talking about the children. And that dragon that you see up there, you know what that is? Yet another property tax hike. Yes, we want better education, but we got to know that it costs for better education. a lot of people who may have had a problem with the bill that was signed because they realized I think $75 million is going to be raised to help those individuals who don't want their children to go to public schools to be able to go into peripheral or whatever the schools, Catholic schools, or any other school where they have to get a voucher to go to school. And that's a good compromise. And, you know, that brings me to where the cardinal, he says that he made an issue that it was in divine order. That's what he said. The cardinal said it was divine intervention for Michael Mannigan and Ronner to come together to help solve the issue of educating our children, even if some of them have to go to Catholic school. I say to the cardinal, hooray, hooray. And I say, to God be the glory. You know, sometimes people have to understand that when you compromise for the betterment of the whole, there are no losers in that. And that's one of the things that the cardinal said. He stated, it doesn't mean that just because one side wins, the other side loses. There can be winners on both sides. And by the signing of that bill, by the governor, and with the full tenacity and the strength of Michael Mannigan, the Speaker of the House, and Cullerton, the President of the State Senate, and the Republican and the Democratic legislative body, those that came together to present a bill for the governor to sign, I want to say hooray, hooray, and hooray to you. And to God be the glory to you. What is happening in Houston? I want to take a moment of pause so we all can send a prayer to the families there in Houston, to those who may have lost loved ones in Houston because of Hurricane Harvey. It kind of reminded me of Katrina. I remember when my son was in Louisiana, he was going to school at Tulane. And me and the wife and my father-in-law, my brother-in-law, we drove from Chicago to go and get him and bring him back. And man, that was a hell of a trip. Watching people riding around with gas cans on the top of their cars because, you know, you had to have gas. And I mean, it was wild. But the whole country came together to help their loved ones or just to help the people that was in New Orleans. And I see the same thing happening for the people that's in Houston. I'm seeing the entertainers come together and put out challenges to other entertainers to help send monies to either the Red Cross or to whatever body is there to help. Myself and other individuals are going to be doing the same thing, making sure we do all that we can to help get water and supplies to Houston. I see I got a caller. Caller, please state your name. You know, on this show, this is an opinionated show. But know this, your opinion is expected.
Yes, sir.
And is respected. Please state your name.
Ray. This is Ray, Mr. Gator.
Hey, Ray.
I have two things to say. God bless the people in Texas. God bless the rest of the people in this great United States. You can see and feel that you can almost touch how much love and compassion this country had. God bless everybody. Second, you watch it this weekend, your family, everyone, because you know it's gonna be crazy out there. So I want to see you next week.
You got it, man. Thanks,
Third,
man. Hey, man, you be careful too, because I surely want to hear from you. You know what I mean? Thank you for the love, man. You know, talking about love. My friend, Superintendent Johnson, to watch the love of your family and your friends, including myself as being a friend of yours, to pray that everything turn out right, and to see the love of your son and you. Man, I'm going to get this picture right there so that everyone can see that. Father and son, both of them in the hospital. The son is giving one of his kidneys to his dad. There's no greater love than that outside of both of them men coming out of the belly of the mother that they both honored, which would be Johnson's son's grandmother and Johnson's wife, who was his son's mother. I want to say cheers to you guys, and I'm glad that you're doing good, and that's a wonderful thing. And then I got a friend. His name is Emmett Farmer, another father and son piece. And this father is fighting for the police officer to be charged with murdering his son. It was decided in a ruling finding that Farmer's shooting unjustified. That means the shooting that police officer did to kill Emmett Farmer's son was called unjustified. Even though the former state's attorney Alvarez refused to charge this man with murder, knowing that this man shot at Farmer's son 16 times, hit him 7 times, 3 times in the back while he was on the ground. No weapon. So Emperor made a decision that it was unjustified for what he did, that police officer. And what's so wild about it, former police superintendent McCarthy says that Sierra, that he considered the case a big problem and that the officer involved should not have been on the street. Sierra later admitted that he drank multiple beers before he went to work that night, but the city waited more than 5 hours to give him a breath test. They give us a breath test. If they stop us, they make us walk that line, seeing if we fail or tilted this way or that way. But they did nothing. They did nothing for him. And the wild thing about this officer, Sierra, is that me and Emmett Farmer had another friend named Gloria Panex. And this same officer was involved in the murder of her son. Picture this. 3 friends fighting against wrongful convictions and against police misconduct and the senseless violence by police officers upon the citizens of the city of Chicago. And two of their children get killed by this one officer that was involved in 3 different shootings within 6 months. It's my understanding that State's Attorney Kim Foxx, even though her office had declined to revisit the case, citing a letter that Alvarez sent to McCarthy explaining why she wasn't going to prosecute him. Now that the petition has been put in asking for a special prosecutor to be appointed, they go to court next Friday. I'll be standing in court with them. They're going to court next Friday to ask the chief judge at the criminal court, Leroy Martin Jr., to grant them the right to have a special prosecutor to prosecute this case. And it was just brought to my attention that State's Attorney Kim Foxx is studying the petition, and she may not object to a special prosecutor being appointed, or she may ask if she could be allowed to prosecute the case. I just say, let go and let God, because vengeance is His, and I believe justice will be served. You know, this comes to my favorite part of the show right here, y'all. This is when I let everyone know how to get in touch with Wallace Gator Bradley. My email address is LAGATOR, the letter B as in boy, the number 4, the word peace, PEACE, at yahoo.com, and my phone number is 312-371-6914. Again, my email address is LAGATOR, the letter B as in boy, the number 4, the word peace, PEACE, at yahoo.com. And the phone number is 312-371-6914. Holler at your boy. I happen to be at the Legislative Black Caucus, had a meeting over at Malcolm X College. And the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus, they were coming to let the people within their respective district know how they work hard for them, because they passed a lot of bills down there. They dealt with criminal justice reform, and the governor signed a lot of bills. He signed a lot of bills down there, you know, and he signed several criminal justice bills. Okay, a lot of them. He signed a bill that made it. There was a law in Illinois, I talked about it last week, where if an individual came out the penitentiary and he was standing next to a gang member, he could be violated and sent back to the penitentiary for violating his parole. Well, the legislators in Springfield, Democrat and Republican, in the House and in the Senate, came together and passed a bill and said that law needed to be changed. And they made it whereas an individual that get out on parole and he commits another crime with a gang member, he gets locked up for violating his parole. But check this out. If he don't deal with a gang banger or a gang member when he come out the penitentiary and he on parole, he gets locked up for violating parole. But I love the clarity of the legislative body coming together and saying just because the individual come out of the penitentiary and he's seen with a gang member, he should not be held responsible for violating his parole because he may be trying to tell that gang member, hey man, stop that antisocial behavior. And as we all know, I believe 90% of a lot of families that's in Cook County, that's in Illinois, has a family member that may be a member of a street organization. You know, and I'm saying that the issue that they talked about was the budget and the monies that's being spent in the Illinois penal institutions. A lot of the guys and the young ladies, the girls, the ladies that's locked up too, there's women locked up too. A lot of them realized that it was a hardship on their families to pay all that money to receive a phone call from their loved ones that were incarcerated. I was told by State Representative L.D. Sims and by State Senator Donnie Trotter that they came to an agreement with those in different companies that had the contracts for the phone calls to bring the charge down so that the loved ones can be in contact with their loved ones that's incarcerated. Those are some of the things that our legislators do. We scream a lot, and we say they're not doing anything. I used to be a screamer too, until I realized the best $37 I could ever spend was getting a round trip, going on an Amtrak, going down there to Springfield, and seeing what our legislators were doing, and were supporting what they were doing. So I'm asking you to check in with your legislator, find out what they're doing, and see how you can support them so that they can support you when you tell them what they need to do with laws that's going to affect you and your family within your community. It takes all of us, you know, and there's something else that was brought to my attention about ComEd. ComEd customers. You get money now. You get a $14 refund on your October bill. Let me say that for you again. ComEd customers, you will get $14 refund on your October bill. Hooray, hooray for ComEd. Keep your lights on and stay woke because you get money back from ComEd. Okay? Hey, and something else, stay woke on this. It was brought to my attention that Wells Fargo has added 1.4 million people whose accounts were taken advantage of. What I mean by that, if you got an account at Wells Fargo, there were individuals that's working for Wells Fargo that was taking your information and opening up other accounts in their name dealing with your information. Shame before God. And it's a scam. And it's time for me to wrap up. But let me say this here. Good news is better than no news. So with that, to God be the glory. And I'll see you next week. And don't choke. Vote in 2018.